Oh, I pressed the wrong button, but they're not here. No one's here, everybody. Just checking in.
Talk about Americas and start off by talking about what happened, which was funny. They said, you laugh, you go to the Furia rebuild. 5 players laughed, and now they're the #1 seed going to Masters Santiago. They win a 5-map close series against MIBR to make it there. Let's start by just talking about this team in general. And I want to ask this. What was the moment for each of you that you believed that this team was actually legit and they were going to make it?
That they were going to make it? I mean,
They
I
were
thought,
gonna-
I thought they were going to win one of the best of
Yeah.
fives. I just thought it would be the next one.
Yeah, I'm totally with Siggy. When they obviously we didn't know that at the time. Like we did see multiple teams lose 3 best of fives, but
Sure.
going into it, I was like, well, chances are, they'll win one. Maybe there'll be one team that doesn't do it, but I was like, chances are they will make it. But
But you
I
didn't think
mean,
they would have against MIBR?
during this game though, like, I'm sure a lot of people after they lost 12-0 on Breeze on the first half probably thought, oh, it's not this one then, is it? Because but I mean, this team. I mean, for me, this team, it's a great story. It is truly a great story to be like the Furia from last year. Obviously, it's a completely different team, but just the org where they were to this. I mean, they were arguably, if not the worst team of all time last year. I mean, if you consider they only won a game with their subs, it was as rough as it could get. To get to this point where they're winning the upper finals and like you're like. It was funny watching the trophy lift. Like Koala Noob was so desperate to lift that trophy. He fucking loved. He was fucking loving it. He was like, his teammates are all like, like slowly getting up. He's like grabbing that fucking trophy. He's like, let me lift this trophy. Let me lift this trophy. Like you.
I mean, the narrative for him is so sick because he has been waiting so long to do that. Like, this is the guy who lost 2 back-to-back BO5s in Ascension in a row to not make it.
Yeah.
Finally gets a tier 1 opportunity after
Look
that.
at him. He's so desperate.
And he's on fucking Na'Vi, and that team is a disaster. And then his only America's chance is Furia, the worst organization VCT Americas. I'm not talking about in terms of organization, but performance that we have in the league. And suddenly they fucking turn the ship around, and in the first ever event qualify. It is really just a ridiculous story to make it there.
I felt like he was out of everyone that won, he was the most excited. Out of every trophy lift that I saw, he was for sure the most excited. And dude, he had like a insanely valid reaction to how he played as well. I felt like he carried pretty heavy on a lot of the game, especially like a lot of first kills from him. But he's kind of meant to do that in his role as well, without him just making a lot of space. So that's what is essentially needed from him. But I just thought it was it's insane to do what he did so consistently as well. I would say is like the big takeaway, because like you kind of have a couple of these games where you're like, oh damn, he's doing like he's top fragging really heavy. He's like carrying a lot. Surely he can't do this all the time. And then like next game he's done it. Next game after that he's done it as well. So yeah, it's just such a nice team. EU's still kind of just rocking the boat as one of the most underrated initiators probably in the game at the moment. So and has been for a long time. So what a pickup from them. And dude, it was just so nice. As soon as I saw them on double pistol on the last map, I was like, oh shit, it's gonna happen. Like they're gonna do it. It was awesome to watch. It was a good best. I was so tired for this, but at the same time I was like, I'm so glad I stayed up for this. It was sick.
I really liked them too, because I mean, I know you guys are saying that you knew they were gonna win one of the best of fives, but maybe not this one against MIBR. But I think this one was the most winnable. And I know we think about, MIBR and the players that they have, but I feel like what Furia has as well is they have the right read on how the team should be playing, and they are flexible enough to make it happen. So like it's just you compare the things that MIBR is doing, and they're pretty simple. They're not doing anything different, but Furia just the flexibility between the 2 duelists that they have, and also everything that our team is willing to play, and on top of that, how vocal they are, which is something that I mentioned before when I listened to them, is like it's just a team that clicks together. Everything is working the way that they want to. And I know you just mentioned EU as well. I think he's just the most impressive player as well. I mean, he talks so much, he communicates so much. The team is like, I feel like working so well because of how good he is at communicating, especially with these newer players and kind of guiding them through the rounds. It's just I think it's so deserved, so impressive, and also they're like in the right time, right place to make it happen.
Yeah, and dude, they're like really smart as well. Like if you watch how like drilled they are, and especially like alt wise and stuff like that, they're like really on it with their ults, good understanding
Yeah.
of big rounds, and how to snowball. Like everything that you want from them is there. You actually just watch them, and you're like, dude, this isn't a fluke. They're just like a legit team that has good understanding, and they're all
Yeah.
very good on their agents. So it's dude, it's so nice to watch. Man, the storylines for this event coming up is so good. I think this is probably the best though, to be honest. The Furia one.
Yeah, the whole Furia lore is really crazy, but I think also the way that they played, and I think they abused all the right things in the meta. What impressed me
Mhm.
especially was Alim, and just the way he was playing this waylay. I think it's like the exact right way to be playing it. Like the amount of Bucky rounds that this team is winning. Every pistol round, he is buying a shorty and he is diving on someone, doing some bullshit. And I swear his consistency rate with getting a pick with a shorty on with dash or fract on a pistol round has got to be higher than like practically any other waylay player out there right now. They're getting ridiculous value out of him. The team is all stepping up individually in such big ways. Like you brought up EU, but I felt like he was playing so well. Even like he was good on previous teams, but he was playing incredibly in this whole playoff run. The util usage was on point. I don't know. It just felt like a confluence of like everything working in such a great way and having a style that works just right into this meta.
Yeah, I think it was also hard to, when I was watching them, at least when I was watching them play against MIBR that weren't on double duelist as well. I think they definitely took advantage of like
Mhm.
some of the players from MIBR looking a little uncomfy as well.
Yeah.
I think that was a big part of it. But yeah, I definitely I also want to see Alan maybe play a little more neon. I'm pretty neon pilled from watching
Yeah.
from watching a lot of Pacific, so I think he looks the comfiest on the neon as well. So I wonder if they're going to play that a little more going forward.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if they pick that up a little bit more. How are our expectations for this team then going into Santiago? Because there is always the history of obviously every region had a team that at least if you're like looking like bigger picture like at the very beginning of the offseason who you would expect to be good was at least somewhat of a surprise to win at. It's all new organizations lifting the trophy and kind of getting that number one spot. That means they're going to get a bye when they go to Masters Santiago. Historically, teams have, not done too well when they come into their first event and they're playing against the really good teams who had time to warm up in the group stage. Do we expect them to perform at Santiago? How far does the heightened expectations go for Furia?
I think the problem for them and all of the teams that are the one seed teams is I reckon we're likely going to see two of them, I would say, just kind of flop because of the things that you've mentioned. Like we've seen it historically, first LAN jitters, whatever it might be, an international or just, teams that go straight to the playoffs not being warm. Like a combination of those two generally doesn't go so well. Now there's 4 teams doing that, so I mean, if all 4 like go out almost straight away, then we'll know there's probably a bit of a problem here. But I would expect probably it to be a 2-2 split because you are like these teams are probably their first game is going to be against G2, NRG, Paper Rex, whoever else, right? Like teams that are already done very well in the Swiss. So it's not going to be easy, but I think that they also like probably everyone at some point has gone, well, this team's not going to win this game, and they did. And we've all I mean, we literally just said like, they're probably not going to win this first one against MMO, and then they did. They've kind of consistently shown, and I think just because they're like so solid, and I think so many of the teams, like we've talked about, other teams like have been changing a lot of stuff through kickoff, and kind of finding themselves. It felt like Furia just knew who they were almost instantly, and kind of like were in that groove,
Yeah,
like from
exactly.
the very start. And
Yeah.
so, depending on how teams, are going, like it's possible that some teams go into kickoff and they're still, into Masters, and they still do need, like for instance, like Team Liquid. They can't play their corrode comp again, right? They're probably gonna have to change that. They're probably gonna have to change some stuff, that won't work. They're not gonna be able to just avoid Althea. Some teams have 5 shooters. Like they're gonna, you can't go with that strategy and hope to win every game. So if teams are still figuring stuff out, I back Fury. The problem for them is that they're starting in the playoffs. And so probably the teams that they come up against won't need to figure out that as much, if you know what I mean. Unless they
Yeah.
play the 1 seed teams.
Especially if you look at the teams who did qualify worldwide throughout it. You basically have majority legacy teams that have always had success at global events who are in those lower spots. You got your G2s, your NRGs, your Paper X's, your Liquids, all these teams that have tons of experience at that level and just seem like they need a little more time to figure it out and will get that opportunity if they make it out of groups.
Yeah, I think it's true what you're saying. That they will have the experience in the lower bracket. And I think a lot of these Seed 1 teams would actually probably be a lot better. Yeah, I prefer going kind of through it. But normally I'm not on board with that. But I will also say that I feel like Fury have been one of those teams with time. They've added in quite a lot of new stuff and they have like a lot of options of where they go. So I do think they should be able to come up with pretty good stuff. So yeah, we'll see. It might be one of those where I say this every time the teams like miss the Swiss and it's like, oh, they should come out with loads of new stuff and then they play relatively similar. But I actually have faith that Fury will come up with loads of new stuff and they should at least I don't know, expectations maybe like I'm not saying won't win, but like top 4.
You think so?
Third, fourth, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's possible.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think just some other, just kind of round out like interesting stuff with this team is partially also that the way that it works, that it's 2 people who have, first of all, been through the absolute dregs in Americas even. Artson was with the MIBR team, who won absolutely nothing, and Shaw was with the Furia last year, their coach, who just didn't win a match, and then come out into this setup where the coach speaks English, but during timeouts is like speaking in Portuguese to Artson, and then he's like translating to the rest of the team. It's a very interesting dynamic. And it's cool to see that they managed.
I mean, it's crazy that it's working. That's the most impressive thing, because I feel like there's not a lot of teams. I feel like we've heard of maybe one team having issues with translation before, like maybe just a few, and it never really works. The fact that this is working for them is the most. I mean, it's the craziest thing. We talked about it last time, and it just does. It just doesn't seem like they need that much. It just seems like they've never been in a situation where that would be a point of concern, but I feel like it could be eventually.